Hi everybody. So we're going to try this again. I was informed that the previous video cut off, and this is such an important message that I wanted to make sure that people really heard what I had to say. I am participating in the 31 stories in 31 days domestic violence awareness event that my friend Teresa asked me to be a part of. As I'm reflecting, and even after doing the first video and thinking back, I definitely there is a generational kind of deal that has happened with domestic violence within my family, of that it has happened, moms, sisters, in multiple ways. I don't know if it goes further back beyond that, but of what I know. And due to situations that kind of occurred and that kind of happened in dealing with family members who were experiencing it, growing up, I always said that would never be me, that I would never, tolerate and be involved in domestic violence. And until I was. And sometimes people have an idea of what a person who is more likely to be domestic violence looks like. And I don't think I fit that mold in any way, shape, or form, especially being in the mental health field, because it occurred for me when I was actually in my doctoral program for clinical psychology, is when I experienced domestic violence. And it happened in many ways, and definitely it wasn't like it was a physical thing. Many times it's emotional, psychological. Actually research shows that emotional and psychological abuse is worse than physical abuse. Your physical can heal quickly, but it takes a long time for the mental and psychological piece to be able to happen. And that's kind of what occurred for me. Even bouts of therapy. I remember actually, even doing the story the second time, I actually remember because we were in therapy, and I remember one of the therapists was like, we have to meet separately. And part of that meeting separately was he literally wanted to assess if I was experiencing domestic violence. And that was kind of a scary reality, even being in the program, knowing that that's what was going. But that still wasn't the day that I walked away. The day I walked away, I was coming from practicum. He had been gone for a few days on drinking binges, which kind of tends to happen. He tended to do. And I was to meet him at the train station. And so I remember walking up to him, and I remember him not even knowing who I was. He had no clue, y'all, who I was. And so all I did was just keep standing there. And the people were looking around like, why is she still standing there if he's like, he waiting for someone? And then after a couple of minutes, he looked up, he saw me, and he was like, oh, hey, babe, as if I hadn't been standing there for like 5 minutes already. And so I was angry, because I knew that he would have been drinking. And so kind of went through, had to go through the train station to go online, go through the line to go upstairs to get on the train. And I remember that he wasn't behind me. And so I turn back around, I'm hearing this commotion, I go back down, and he is down there like cussing the lady that's working there out because he couldn't get through. And so I go, I get him through, and I just go, and I was like, ma'am, I apologize, and she's like, well, it's not you. And I was like, but no, you're a hardworking woman, no one should ever hear the things that is coming out of his mouth, and so I do apologize. And so I just remember being mad, and I kind of got on the phone, and I was on the phone with my mom, so she hears all this in the background. And so he's just thinking I'm talking to somebody or somebody else or what have you. And I'm just kind of talking to my mom like, hey, trying to ignore, I'm not engaging, and he goes and snatches the phone out of my hand, and he snatches it so hard that it breaks the skin. I mean, like, it was bad. It took like 3 months to heal. So it was a pretty bad, the scratches. And I just remember in that moment of going, I'm not going home. I refuse to go home to this. And so I called my aunt. I'm like, Auntie, I need to know what train station. I need you to pick me up at a train station. Name the train station. And so she said she didn't even ask any questions, just told me the train station. And it took about 2 hours to get there. And in these 2 hours, he kept just following, pushing, saying all these different things. And I never engaged back. I didn't say anything. I would just move, around, trying to avoid him because he would try to block me in, and I just keep moving. I wouldn't say there were definitely some very helpful people that I am grateful for, who tried to intervene in the situation, you know, and there are times and he would escalate with them, and, you know, a couple of them I was like, it's okay, I'm not going home, just kind of reassuring even the other people, you know, that I wasn't, you know. And I remember, you know, getting to my aunt, you know, to the train station, let her know I was there, her coming to pick me up, and me just getting in the car. And I remember that I got in the car, and I will tell y'all, this is the only time I have ever heard this song on the radio. And the song is Tamia, and the song name is Me. And it's such a powerful song. And I will tell you, if you all get the opportunity, and I'll even possibly try to post it. It's such a powerful song, and what it kind of talks about is that in this relationship, all these different things, the guy thinks that, you know, she's going after someone, but in the end, she's choosing me, myself, I, you know, to be able to. And in that moment, I was like, I have to choose me. It has to be about me. During that time, there were so many things. I was under so much stress. I mean, I actually thought I was like physically dying. I was in the doctor's office. Nobody could find anything wrong, you know, but it was the stress I was under from the domestic violence. And that was the day that I refused, you know. I was like, it's not worth it. You know, you know, me losing out on myself is not worth it for him to do this to me. And so I made a change. And, you know, and I went through therapy, and, you know, I remember my therapist, she was like, at the end of therapy was like, you were just raw, you know. She was like, oh, you would just come in and just cry, you know. And I was like, oh, wow. And again, I'm in the mental health field, you know, and I'm going through this, still continuing to go through school and being able to, you know, work through this. And I will say the research is correct. The physical was so much easier to heal than it was the psychological and the mental. And so I'm proud to be a part of this campaign. I'm proud to share my story and how I became victorious over domestic violence. And I urge anyone out there who's going through these things to please get the help, and please do it the proper way also, because we don't want you to put yourself in more danger. And so the women of this group, the women who we will be sharing our stories, we will definitely help you and be willing to find the resources in your area, no matter where you are, to be able to get through this. For other people, if someone comes to you, if they tell you and say, hey, this is what's going on, don't brush them off. Say, no, it can't happen. Nah, he would never do that. You don't look like that would happen to you, you know, because that's sometimes what people say. Please believe them. Don't let anyone go through this alone. Help them, you know, help them out. Get the word out. Please understand this is more prevalent. I work with teens every single day, and then I'm teaching them what domestic violence looks like. And here's the amazing part. Some of these kids are realizing that things that they're doing is leading to domestic violence, and they didn't even realize it. But because of the education and just telling them, they're like, I need to make a change. That's how we stop domestic violence, is through education, is through teaching how to have a healthy relationship and what that looks like. And so I'm proud to be able to work with teens every day, and work with women and people and even men every day, to be able to help them understand the signs of domestic violence, and to understand what healthy relationships look like, and to know that they can overcome. So I hope that my story has helped someone today. Again, please reach out, you know, in any way possible, and we'll get you the help that you need. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Shan of Dr. Shan Walks.